Hello and welcome back to our grade 9 maths lesson. I am Mrs. Ray, your maths teacher. Okay, in our previous lesson, we looked at simple interest. In this lesson, we are going to look at compound interest. Okay, for compound interest, it's a little bit more interesting because the interest is added according to the time periods that is given. Okay, let's look at an example. John decides to go to the village and he has to sell the house that he lives in and the block of land that the house is built on, and he sells it for 500,000 kina. He doesn't want to use that money, so he decides to invest that money at the bank. And there are two options that are given. A, 2% compounded after 6 months for 1 year. Option B, 2% compounded after 3 months for 1 year. Okay. He has to choose which option is the best option. Let's look at A. Okay, A, we said 2% compounded after 6 months for 1 year. Okay, we have to first of all look at the number of months in a year. Okay, we all know that there are 12 months in a year. So we divide 12 by 6 to find out the number of times the interest is going to be compounded. So for the percent to percent, we know that 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the interest will be compounded 2 times in a year. So for option A, we have 2% divided by 2. That gives us 1%. So after 6 months, 1% of interest will be added to 500,000 kina. Let's see how it works. Okay, so the first thing that we have to put is the time period. Okay, we have the time period and then interest charged and the new principal. Okay, each time the interest is added onto the principal, that becomes the new principal. Okay, time period, first 6 months. Okay, that's the first half. So let's say first 6 months. We calculate 1% of 500,000 kina. That gives us 5,000 kina. Okay, so the interest that will be added at the end of 6 months will be 500 kina. So our new principal now will be 500,000 plus 5,000 kina. And that will be 505,000 kina. Okay, let's look at how much interest is going to be added after the second half, which is after the second 6 months. Okay, this time it's going to be 1% of 505,000 kina. Okay, that will give us 5,050 kina. Okay, the new principal will be 505,000 kina plus 5,050 kina. So our new principal this time will be 510 500,050 kina. Okay, that is the amount that he's going to receive at the end of the second 6 months. So that's the accumulated amount that he will earn at the end of 1 year. That is not the interest. How do we calculate the interest? The interest is equal to the accumulated amount minus the principal. So that will be 510,050 kina minus 500,000 kina. So at the end of the year, he will have received an interest of 10,050 kina. Okay, we are going to look at option B, 2% compounded after 3 months for a year. Okay, in order for us to make a good judgment, we have to calculate the compound interest after 3 months, compounded after 3 months for a year. Okay, let's look at let's first of all look at how many times it is going to be compounded if it's after 3 months for a year. We know that there are 12 months in a year. We divide that by 3, that gives us 4. So there are actually 4 quarters in a year if it's going to be compounded after every 3 years. So we know that the percentage is 2%. Compounded after every 2 years. So we are going to divide 2% by 4, since there are 4 months, 4 times that the interest is going to be compounded, and that gives us 1/2, which is 0.5%. So after every 3 months, the interest that is going to be added will be 0.5%. So we have the time period. We have time period. We have the interest charged. Interest charge and the new principal. New principal. Okay. So let's say the first 3 months is the first quarter. Okay, how much interest is going to be charged and what is going to be the new principal? After the first quarter, we have 0.5 over 100 times 500,000 kina. Okay, we have 2,500 kina. That will be the interest that will be added at the end of first quarter. So the new principal will be 500,000 plus 2,500 kina, which will be 500 and 2,500 kina. So that is the new principal at the end of the first quarter. Let's see how much will we have at the end of the second quarter. Okay, at the end of the second quarter, we have 0.5 over 100 times the new principal, 500 and 2,000 kina, 2,500 kina, 5,000 and 2,500 kina. And the interest is 2,500, 12 kina, 50 toya. New interest at the end of second quarter will be 500 and 5,000, 12 kina, 50 toya. Okay, let's see how much is going to be charged at the end of the third quarter. That is after the next 3 months. Okay, so we have 0.5 times 100 times the previous principal of 500 and 5,012 kina 50 toya. And that gives us 2,525 kina 6 toya. The new principal after the third quarter is 507,537 kina 56 toya. Okay, so we have 507,537 kina 56 toya after the third quarter. And after the final quarter, we have 0.5 times 100 multiplied by 507,537 kina 56 toya. Okay, that gives us 2,537 kina 69 toya. So the total amount that will be paid at the end of the final quarter and also at the end of the year will be 510,075 kina 25 toya. Okay, let's see what the interest is going to be, because this is only the accumulated amount at the end of the fourth quarter. So our interest is equal to A minus P, the principal, which is equal to 510,075 kina 25 toya minus 500,000 kina. That will be equal to 10,075 kina 25 toya. That is the interest at the end of the year that is going to be paid. Okay, so if we compare the two, we can see that 10,075 kina 25 toya is better than 10,050 kina. So the best option he should go for is option B. Okay, so from these two examples, we can say that if you increase the time period, the better the amount that you are going to make with a reduced time period in a year. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson on compound interest. In our next lesson, we are going to look at inflation and appreciation. Thank you.